بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بفضلك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين. أم حسب الذين يعملون السيئات أن يسبقونا ساء ما يحكمون. من كان يرجو لقاء الله فإن أجل الله لآت وهو السميع العليم. ومن جاهد فإنما يجاهد لنفسه إن الله لغني عن العالمين. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنكفرن عنهم سيئاتهم ولنجزينهم أحسن الذي كانوا يعملون. ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حسنا وإن جاهداك لتشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لندخلنهم في الصالحين. ومن الناس من يقول آمنا بالله فإذا أوذي في الله جعل فتنة الناس كعذاب الله. ولئن جاء نصر من ربك ليقولن إنا كنا معكم أوليس الله بعلم بما في صدور العالمين. وليعلمن الله الذين آمنوا وليعلمن المنافقين. وقال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا اتبعوا سبيلنا ولنحمل خطاياكم وما هم بحاملين من خطاياهم من شيء إنهم لكاذبون. وليحملن أثقالهم وأثقالا مع أثقالهم وليسألن يوم القيامة عما كانوا يفترون. ولقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فلبث فيهم 1000 سنة إلا 50 عاما فأخذهم الطوفان وهم ظالمون. فأنجيناه وأصحاب السفينة وجعلناها آية للعالمين. وإبراهيم إذ قال لقومه اعبدوا الله واتقوه ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. إنما تعبدون من دون الله أوثانا وتخلقون إفكا إن الذين تعبدون من دون الله لا يملكون لكم رزقا فابتغوا عند الله الرزق واعبدوه واشكروا له إليه ترجعون. وإن تكذبوا فقد كذب أمم من قبلكم وما على الرسول إلا البلاغ المبين. أولم يروا كيف يبدع الله الخلق ثم يعيده إن ذلك على الله يسير. قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق ثم الله ينشأ النشأة الآخرة إن الله على كل شيء قدير يعذب من يشاء ويرحم من يشاء وإليه تقلبون وما أنتم بمعجزين في الأرض ولا في السماء وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير والذين كفروا بآيات الله ولقائه أولئك يئسوا من رحمتي وأولئك لهم عذاب أليم فما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا اقتلوه أو حرقوه فأنجاه الله من النار إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يؤمنون وقال إنما اتخذتم من دون الله أوثانا مودة بينكم في الحياة الدنيا ثم يوم القيامة يكفر بعضكم ببعض ويلعن بعضكم بعضا ومأواكم النار وما لكم من ناصرين فآمن له لوط وقال إني مهاجر إلى ربي إنه هو العزيز الحكيم ووهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب وجعلنا في ذريته النبوة والكتاب وآتيناه أجره في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين ولوطا إذ قال لقومه إنكم لتأتون الفاحشة ما سبقكم بها من أحد من العالمين أئنكم لتأتون الرجال وتقطعون السبيل وتأتون في ناديكم المنكر فما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا ائتنا بعذاب الله إن كنت من الصادقين قال رب انصرني على القوم المفسدين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. For the love of the Holy Prophet and his holy family, please recite the second salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the reappearance of our awaited Savior, please recite the third salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. The Marsiya that I have tonight takes us back to the year 61 Hijrah, where there's this young girl who is part of a group of prisoners, and she is standing near the door of the prison, and there people have come here to witness a show. So there is a ijdiham of people, there's a group of people that are standing over there. So the poet describes all of this. And in the end of this Marsiya, the poet describes the violence that this little girl faces. And this little girl basically sees things around her and reacts to those events, and the violence takes place after this. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. Zinda mein mukhayyad hue jis dam harame shah ambo hai qalaiq hua darwaze panaga بلوا ہوا اس درجہ کے مزدود ہوئی راہ سر شرم سے زنجیر پا سر شرم سے زنجیر پا عابد نے رکھا تھا وہ عرق شرم اسیروں کے بدن میں روتا تھا ہر ایک عضو روتا تھا ہر ایک عضو غم شاہ زمن میں مشغول جو تھے کھیل میں اطفال وہ سارے کرتی تھی سکینہ وہاں حسرت سے نظارے کہتی تھی کہ کیا ہو گئے ہم جھولی ہمارے بابا علی اصغر کو بابا علی اصغر کو کہاں لے کے سدھارے سب بچے یہاں کھیلتے ہیں خندہ زنا ہے میں کھیلتی تھی جن سے میں کھیلتی تھی جن سے وہ اطفال کہاں ہے ناگاہ نمودار ہوئی شام غریباں آیا غضب آلود وہاں شمر بدیمہ ایک ایک سے مخاطب ہوا وہ دشمن یزداں اب جاؤ کہ ہوتا ہے اب جاؤ کہ ہوتا ہے مقفل در زندہ ہوئے گی رہائی نہ کبھی آل ابا کی کل دیکھیو پھر سیر کل دیکھیو پھر سیر اسیران بلا کی یہ سن کے پریشان ہوا امبوہ وہ سارا گم ہو گیا ایک شخص کا فرزند خزارہ چلایا پدر اس کا رہا دل پہ یارا فرزند بھی بابا اسے فرزند بھی بابا اسے کہہ کے پکارا وہ طفل لپٹنے جو لگا آ کے پدر سے پیدا ہوئی ایک آہ سکینہ کے جگر سے بھر بھر کے دم سرد یہ کی بانوں سے گفتار اس بچے کو دیکھو تو کیا خوش ہے یہ دلدار کیا نام پدر پیار سے لیتا ہے ہر ایک بار ایک ہم ہے کہ ہیں باپ کی ایک ہم ہے کہ ہیں باپ کی فرقت میں گرفتار دل میں جو میرے درد ہے خالق کی دل میں جو میرے درد ہے خالق پہ آیا ہے میں کس کو کہوں باپ میں کس کو کہوں باپ میرا باپ کہاں ہے بابا میرے ہوتے تو انہیں کہتی میں بابا اب باپ کہاں جس کو کہوں باپ میں دکھیا یوں کوئی پدر بیٹی سے غافل نہیں ہوتا. حیران ہوں بابا کے، حیران ہوں بابا کے، وہ شفاق ہوئے کیا. آدھا نے ہمیں قید کیا شام میں لا کر. بابا میرے کیوں مجھ کو، بابا میرے کیوں مجھ کو نہیں ڈھونڈتے آ کر. یہ کہے کہ سکینہ پر جو رقت ہوئی تاری، بس ہائے پدر کہہ کے کئی بار پکاری. تڑپی جو زمیں پر تو زمیں ہل گئی ساری. جھنجلا کے کہا شمر نے، جھنجلا کے کہا شمر نے، پھر کرتی ہو زاری. اب خوب رلاؤں گا تجھے میں نہ ڈروں گا. رہ تجھ کو اسیروں سے، رہ تجھ کو اسیروں سے جدا قید کروں گا. پھر شمر نے بازوئے سکینہ کو جو پکڑا، کنبے کی طرف اس نے عجب یاد سے دیکھا. سب قیدیوں میں ایک قیامت ہوئی برپا. سجاد کے قدموں پر، سجاد کے قدموں پر مچل کر گری دکھیا. یوں لپٹی تھی بھائی سے وہ اس خوف و خطر میں. ایک ہاتھ تو گردن میں تھا، ایک ہاتھ تو گردن میں تھا، ایک ہاتھ کمر میں. منہ دیکھ کے سجاد کا کہتی تھی وہ ڈر کر، اب آپ میرے رونے کے ضامن ہو برادر. گر تم سے چھٹی زیست میری ہوئے گی کیوں کر. اب روؤں تو جو چاہے، اب روؤں تو جو چاہے کرے شمر ستم گر. بھیا مجھے تو شمر سے اس وقت بچا لے. اب روؤں تو کر دیجیو، اب روؤں تو کر دیجیو ظالم کے حوالے. اب روئی سو میں روئی نہ اب روئیں گی زنہار. اب روؤں اگر باپ کو اپنے تو گنہگار فرماؤ کہ اب چھوڑ دے مجھ کو یہ جفاکار. بازو میرا دکھنے لگا، بازو میرا دکھنے لگا، اے عابد بیمار. کس طرح جدا کنبے سے ہوئے گی سکینہ. تم کہہ دو قسم کھا کے، تم کہہ دو قسم کھا کے نہ روئے گی سکینہ. تم کہہ دو قسم کھا کے نہ روئے گی سکینہ. یہ کہتی تھی کھینچا جو ستم گر نے خزارا. کرتا تو پھٹا تھا وہ، پھٹا اور بھی سارا. اب عابد بیمار نے رو کر یہ پکارا، اے شمر یہ بن باپ کی، اے شمر یہ بن باپ کی بیٹی ہے خدا را، غافل تیری دہشت سے نہ ہوئے گی سکینہ، اب ایسا ڈری ہے کہ، اب ایسا ڈری ہے کہ نہ روئے گی سکینہ، اب ایسا ڈری ہے کہ نہ روئے گی سکینہ، زندہ میں مقید۔
Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله كما هو أهله الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا طبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا وسيد الثقلين جد الحسن والحسين بالقاسم محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الغر الميامين المنتجبين المكرمين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا رحمة الله على أحبابهم وأصحابهم وشيعتهم ومحبيهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتليهم وظالميهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الحسين مصباح الهدى والسفينة النجاة. Please say Lord Salawat. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah accept your worship, your commemoration in all the services that you have been providing for the love of Ahlul Bayt, alayhimu salatu wassalam, and especially the organizers, the volunteers, and the management of Az-Zahra Islamic Center. May Allah bless you all, and may Allah keep this ongoing in your generations to come, inshallah. And may Allah bless you and your generations with the love of Sayyid al-Shuhada Hazrat Abi Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad. It is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have been blessed with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It's a great blessing that you cannot compare with anything. The hadith that I have recited, the Holy Prophet says that Innal Husayna misbahul huda was safinatun najah. That my grandson Hussein is a light that gives you guidance, is a source of light, source of guidance that attracts you towards the guidance. Was safinatun najat, and my grandson is the ark of salvation. If you want to be freed, and if you want to be successful, and if you want to go enter into paradise, so you have to come to the door of Al Muhammad, and especially the door of Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. So if you look at the life in this world and the life hereafter, a human being needs two things. Number one, in this life, everyone seeking guidance, they're Muslims or they're non-Muslims. No one says that they don't want to be guided. Everyone wishes to be guided. For example, all the Muslims, they are Sunnis or Shia or whatever school of thought they belong to, when they pray, they say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Oh Allah, please guide us towards the straight path. So everyone needs to be guided. And the life hereafter, everyone wants to be successful. They don't want to get punished. They don't want, to be in a bad shape. So everyone in this life looking for guidance, and the life hereafter, they want to be successful. So the Holy Prophet gave a beautiful solution for both of these needs. That if you want to be guided in this life, and if you want to be successful in the life hereafter, you have to come to the door of Sayyid al-Shuhada. So the way that we do Azadari, and the way that we commemorate and the love of Sayyid al-Shuhada, is not just that the followers of Al Muhammad do the commemoration, or show the love for Al Bayt and show the love for Hazrat Abi Abdullah. If you look at a human being a human, Sayyid al-Shuhada has a right over the human beings to have a love of Hazrat Abi Abdullah in their hearts. Being a human being a Shia, something different. So the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has started this system, and this whole universe was created, as you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when created the first man, that was Hazrat Adam and Eve, and against Shaitan came up, and he did not want Adam to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he did not obey the rules and the basically commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the very first day, there was one who was ambassador of Allah, and there was one who was representing Shaitan or the evil or the devil. So, and that system, it started from there, and then there was one who was basically spreading the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the prophets, 124,000 prophets came, and they were delivering the message of the oneness of Allah and the message of God. And Shaitan, the devil, has his own representatives, and they were representing him. So it's good and bad. So from day one, it started, the good and bad. And you can differentiate, in a good way. If you do not have a bad against the good, you cannot differentiate. So if you want to see how was Hazrat Habil, you have to see the character of Qabil. So there is always good versus bad. So when you compare things and when you differentiate things, you have to compare good versus bad, so you know that what is what. So when you see the role of Habil being obedient to his parents, being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you see the vice versa, the character of Qabil against him, then you know that what was the role of Qabil and what was the role of Habil. Similarly, when you move on and you see the role of Prophet Ibrahim, and you see the role of Namrud against Prophet Ibrahim, and you can ask me a question that why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, basically he was testing his loved ones or his messengers or his prophets, and being Allah put them in hardship. He tested their patience. He had to go through, all the prophets, they had to go through hardships and calamities. So why they were tested, and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to face them, like Prophet Ibrahim had to face Namrud. So the reason behind it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see the level of obedience of his ambassadors, his prophets, his messengers, and against that the messengers of Shaitan or the messengers of devil, at what level of ignorance and the oppression they were. Because when you compare, you have to see. So if you want to see the patience of Prophet Ibrahim, you have to see that at what level of cruelty the Namrud was. And then you know that the level of patience and the level of tolerance of Ibrahim, but at what level he was. When you want to see the level of patience of Prophet Musa, you have to see the role of Fir'aun against him. That at what level of cruelty he was, and then you can see that at what level Prophet Moses was. Similarly, when you move on, so the representative of Allah, the representative of God, versus the representative of Shaitan. So you have to compare things. When it came to Karbala, there was one who was representing God and there was one who was representing devil. And you can see that when it comes to the worldly desires or your personal gains or the world, the love of world and the love of life in this world, it was always the lovers of devil. But when it comes to the obedience of Allah, when it comes to the sacrifices, and when it comes to the test, it's always the line that has the messengers, the prophets, and the representatives of Allah and the ambassadors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now people raise a question that why did Imam Hussain leave, and what was the reason that he had to leave his hometown? So why he did not, made some kind of agreement with Yazid? There are so many things that are coming up on the media. Even today, after like 1400 years, there are like so unfortunate people that are still raising this question, and they're raising this question that why Sayyid al-Shuhada left his home and he came and he fought and he sacrificed himself and all his family members. So why he did not find a way out? And people also ask that why the father of Sayyid al-Shuhada, he was dealing with the caliphs before him, and he did not do the same thing that Sayyid al-Shuhada did or what Imam Hassan did. So the things were different after the Holy Prophet had departed in the 11th Hijrah. After him, the Islam was there apparently. The soul of Islam, the core of Islam was not there. Unfortunately, that is the truth and that is the reality of the history. But to some point, there was the Islam being obeyed to some level. The hypocrites were there. That's why Surah Munafiqun, the chapter Munafiqun came, and it's the part of Quran. So of course there were people who were trying to make themselves look different, but within their hearts they still had the love of the pastimes, the kufr and the shirk, and they accepted Islam because of some reasons, and they had their own personal gains and their worldly gains. So at the time that the Holy Prophet left, there was things not that bad. Even during the second Khilafah, during the third Khilafah, the things were not as bad as at the time in Karbala. Even against Imam Hassan Mujtaba, the one who was there in Syria, Damascus, he was pretending to be a good Muslim. Actually, within himself, he knew that he has nothing to do with Islam. They accepted Islam at the time of the victory of Makkah, but within their hearts they knew that they were not sincere with Islam, and that's why when his father came to Amir al-Mu'mineen and he said that, Ya Ali, we want to help you, why don't you stand up and take your right, and we are going to help you. So it was the grandfather of Yazid. Amir al-Mu'mineen replied him by saying that when did you started feeling sympathy for Islam? When did you became loyal to Islam? Amir al-Mu'mineen knew that they are pretending to be Muslims, but actually they have nothing to do with Islam. But when it came to the time in 61st Hijrah, things were different. Things were totally different. And that's why Sayyid al-Shuhada had to leave Medina and come and take the teachings of Islam and make people know and let people know that Yazid has nothing to do with Islam. And that's why when he left Medina, a very open announcement that he had made. And he said that, Amma Yazid huwa fasikun, fajirun, sharibul khamr, qatilun nafsul muhtarama. Who is Yazid? Sayyid al-Shuhada introduced Yazid and he let people know that look at him, who is he? He's fasik. Fasik is the one who commits sins openly, not like, the one who's doing something behind doors is also a sinner, but he's not fasik. He's not fajir, but the one who does not consider sin as a sin, being a Muslim, he commits sins and he does not consider them as a sin, he commits them openly, he is fasik. You cannot offer prayers behind him. You cannot accept him as a caliph. You cannot make him as a leader or imam. So Imam said, huwa fasikun fajr sharibul khamr. Yazid, he was drinking wine openly. He used to play with dogs. He used to play with the monkeys. He was the one who was denying the revelation of Quran. He was the one who was denying the messengership. He was the one who was denying the whole teachings of Islam, and even more, of that he was the one who said that all the forbidden relationships within Islam is allowed. He was the one who accepted the relationship between the blood relationship, for example, with the mother, with the sister, with the daughter. He was the one openly he had accepted. So how come you pledge allegiance, and how can you bow down to him, and how can you accept him as a caliph? That the one who has all these characters, that characters are against Islam. Since Sayyid al-Shuhada was the one representing not just himself. No, that is the question, brother and sister. People have to see that who Hussein was, just a person, or Hussein was, and that's what you say in Ziyarat-e Warisa. Assalamu alayka ya Warisa Adam as-Saffatillah. Salamu alayka ya Warisa Nuhin Nabiyillah. Warisa Ibrahim Khalilillah. Warisa Musa Kalimillah. Warisa Isa Ruhillah. Warisa Muhammadin Habibillah. Warisa Ali ibn Abi Talib Aliyillah. So Hussein ibn Ali in the battle of Karbala, not just one person representing himself, or it was not a fight of power or the leadership or the rulership. It was, Hussein was the representative of 124,000 prophets. If Hussein ibn Ali bowed down and pledges allegiance towards Yazid, it means that Adam had bowed down. It means that Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and then the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the system of oneness collapses. So you have to see that Sayyid al-Shuhada in Karbala, being himself, was the representative of Allah, representative of all the prophets, all the messengers, and also representing his father. And who was Yazid? He was representative of devil. He was representing Qabil. He was representing Namrud. He was representing Fir'aun. He was representing all the bad symbols in the history. Now you tell me that what does a common human being, with a little bit of wisdom, can you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created this system, and then after like 1400 years, he just want everything go waste and everything go in vain, and he's not going to make arrangements to protect the system? In Ghadir, when Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen was announced, people think that the Holy Prophet just departed this life and he did not announce no one after the Holy Prophet. It is against your wisdom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who had created such a system, he had to make sure that the system is protected. And to protect the system, whatever it costs, there should be one who is ready to do that. There's one who's willing to do that. There should be one who is willing and ready, and who is there to protect the basic teachings of Islam, to protect La ilaha illallah, to protect Muhammad Rasulullah, to protect the teachings of Islam, to protect all the halal and haram. So it was none other than Sayyid al-Shuhada, because he was the Imam of time in the 61st Hijrah. And now people think that why Sayyid al-Shuhada, he sacrificed himself and all his family members. But when you come to the door of the Holy Prophet, which is common, the Holy Prophet is common amongst like Shia and Sunnah, and you ask him, so this beautiful hadith that the Holy Prophet said, that Al-Husainu minni wa ana min Hussein, Husainu minni, Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. So you know that Hussein is from the grandfather, but how the Holy Prophet is from a grandson? So the Holy Prophet means that he's my grandson, he's from me. But after Sayyid al-Shuhada's great sacrifice, until the day of judgment, now my name, my work, my prophethood, all my teachings, all my preachings, and all the system of Islam is going to be because of the greatest sacrifice of Sayyid al-Shuhada, since I am because of Hussein. La ilaha illallah is because of Hussein. Muhammadur Rasulullah is because of Hussein. So Ana min Hussein means that I am from Hussein. My name, my work, my tasks, my preachings, all my services, all my messengership, everything is going to stay because of the greatest sacrifice of Hazrat Abi Abdullah in the 61st Hijrah in Karbala. Please recite a loud salawat. So Imam Hussain knew what he was going through. He knew what is going to happen. It is not that he did not know when, at the time when he left from Medina, he knew when people asked him to pledge allegiance. And you have to see that it was not just a government, or it was not just to be a ruler that who's going to rule people. It's not that it was just like, the worldly gains. It was a whole system that Sayyid al-Shuhada was representing. So when he was asked that, why don't you pledge allegiance? And now even people know, and the history also talks about it, that many of the companions, they did do that. They accepted Yazid as a caliph. Even today people think that, in Islam it is allowed that whoever is your leader, is your ruler, you accept him, and it doesn't matter that he's a sinner, it doesn't matter that he's obedient to Allah, or it does not matter that what his character is and how he is. Since he's a leader, since he's a ruler, so you have to accept him as it is. There's a new clip that came today or yesterday. Somebody was talking about that since he was a ruler, he was a leader, so you have to accept him as a caliph. So that's why the companions of the Holy Prophet, majority of them had accepted Yazid as a caliph. Since he's a ruler, he's in power, and now you cannot do anything. You have to accept him as a ruler. And people raise this question that when the companions of the Holy Prophet accepted Yazid as a caliph, why did not Hussein ibn Ali? When majority of the people accepted Yazid as a ruler, accepted Yazid as a caliph, why not Hussein ibn Ali? So why don't we ask them a question that if Hussein ibn Ali did not accept him as a caliph, why other people have done it? No, don't ask us a question that when companions have done it, why he didn't do it? When he did not do it, and who is Hussein? You have to see, you have to know about Hussein ibn Ali. Who Hussein? Husainu minni wa ana min Hussein. Hussein is from the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet. So if Hussein ibn Ali bows down to Yazid, it means that the Holy Prophet had left everything, and there was no teaching, and there was no services, and there was no sacrifices. So the grandson of the Holy Prophet, Sayyid al-Shuhada, said this word, Mithli la yuba'ya mithla. The one like me cannot bow down to the one like him. And the one like him, who's like committing sins openly, who's doing all the bad things openly. So the grandson of the Holy Prophet announced it, that Mithli la yuba'ya mithla. It's not that it was just Hussein ibn Ali, it was a whole chain of messengers. The one like me, and the one like Adam, the one like Ibrahim, the one like Musa, the one like Prophet Jesus, all the messengers. It means that the representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they cannot bow down and accept Yazid as a caliph, and that whatever it takes to deny him, whatever, even if you have to give your life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion, for the sake of La ilaha illallah, and to protect Islam, there was someone who had to stand up. And that was the reason that Nawaz-e-Payghambar, the grandson of the Holy Prophet, he had left everything to save the religion of Islam, not to save the rule, not to save the government, or not to take his right of being a ruler. Apparently, Imam has a right, not just to right to rule, but Imam has a right to guide. And that was the main reason, the guidance that Nawaz-e-Payghambar, the grandson of the Holy Prophet, had departed. Please recite a loud salawat ala Muhammad. So that was the reason that you have to see that who Hussein is. When you know that who Hussein is, and you know that who Yazid is, then you compare both personalities. When the Holy Prophet says, Allahumma inna ha'ulai ahlu bayti, wa khasati, wa hammati, lahmuhum lahmi, damuhum dami, yu'limuni ma yu'limuhum, wa yahzununi ma yahzanum. The house of the Holy Prophet, the house, and that's what Sayyid al-Shuhada, nahnu ahlu baytin nabuwa, we are the household of the prophethood. So you have to see that Hussein is amongst those 5 people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala secured them, and the verse of the Holy Quran talks about their purity, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about their infallibility. Innama yuridullahu li yuzhiba ankumur rijsa ahlal bayt wa yutahhirakum tathira. Please recite aloud. So on one side there is Hussein, who's protected with infallibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala witnesses their infallibility in Quran. And the Holy Prophet says that Allahumma inna haulai ahlu bayti. Oh Allah, these are the people of my family. These are the people of the family of the prophethood. Lahmuhum lahmi, my flesh is their flesh. Damuhum dami, their blood is my blood. So on one side there Hussein ibn Ali, and on the other side the one who has nothing to do with Islam. There's one who is committing sins openly. And then you have to see that in the life of the Holy Prophet, he had showed it to everyone that who Hussein is. He had introduced, the Holy Prophet knew what's going to happen afterwards and after he depart. So one day that when Sayyid al-Shuhada came into the mosque, the Holy Prophet was delivering sermon, sitting at the pulpit. Sayyid al-Shuhada came, the Holy Prophet picked him up in his childhood, made him sit down on his lap, and the Holy Prophet said, Ayyuhan nas fa'arifuhu, haza Hussein, fa'arifuhu. Recognize him, know him, look at him. Haza Husainun, fa'arifuhu, wa'atiyuhu, follow him. Be obedient to Hussein. Haza Husainun, huwa fil jannah, abuhu fil jannah, ummuhu fil jannah, akhuhu fil jannah, ukhtuhu fil jannah, muhibbuhu fil jannah, muhibbu muhibbihi fil jannah. He is from paradise. He is the master of paradise. His father is from paradise. His mother is from paradise. The one who loves him from paradise, and the one who loves the lover of Hussein ibn Ali, he is also from paradise. So on one side there is Hussein ibn Ali, who has so much, so many attributes and so many qualities that the Holy Prophet had described and delivered and told people, and Quran witnesses them. And on the other side, there is one that who has nothing to do with Islam. It's very unfortunate with the history that people have accepted him, as a caliph. All those muftis and all those, so-called, the leaders of Islam and so-called scholars, they were quiet and they accepted Yazid. So even today, you have to come up with this question and see that what were the qualities, the bad qualities of Yazid that he had. And on the other side, the sacrifices and the services of Sayyid al-Shuhada that he had done for Islam. For example, all the bad things that Yazid had done prior to Karbala, that is on one side, there's a whole chapter, and all the books are full of that information that he had done. He was the one who had put fire over Kaaba. Did he do that or not? So you accept as Muslim. If a Muslim does that, you think that he's still a Muslim after doing that? Since he had recited Kalima, he's still a Muslim. If somebody puts fire on Kaaba and burns Kaaba, is he still a Muslim? The one who does not have no respect towards the mosque of the Holy Prophet, and he ties the horses within the mosque for 3 days. There was no azan call towards the prayer for 3 days. And he had allowed that do whatever you want to do with the residents of Medina for 3 days. And the history says that what happened in Medina when Yazid allowed that, there is no halal, no haram, do whatever you want to do. And all the soldiers, they entered into Medina, and see what happened to the women of the companions of the Holy Prophet. Everything is in the history. Who was the one who ordered that? It was Yazid. Who was the one who disrespected the mosque and his orders were fulfilled and obeyed, and everything happened in the city of Medina and Makkah? The one who killed the companions, and moreover, the one who killed the Sayyid al-Shuhada was also a companion of the Holy Prophet. He was a grandson of the Holy Prophet, but at least you consider him, you take him as a companion. He was also a companion. So if you believe that he was a companion, that the one who is a killer of a companion of a Holy Prophet, what do you think about him? Is he still a Muslim? Or the one who, just kills and destroys the whole household and the whole system that is representing Islam, you think that still he is a Muslim? If you think that, then I must recite the same sentence that Sayyid al-Shuhada had recited. And he had said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un alal Islam as-salam is kad boliyatil ummatu bira'in mithla Yazid. That if Yazid, the one like Yazid is a ruler and a leader and imam to Islam, Imam said, Alal Islam as-salam, then my salam is on that Islam. So if you think that the leader of Islam is like Yazid, so then of course, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, then there is nothing to, it means that all the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, it has no value. Then if you accept anyone with any character, with any corruption, and you accept him as a leader, as a ruler, or as a guide, or as the one appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there is nothing else besides saying that inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So unfortunately, this was the dark part of history, but the representative of Allah, he stood up, he said, no matter what happens to me, no matter what happens to my family, I'm going to protect the teachings of Islam. I'm going to protect Quran, and I'm going to protect all the services of all the messengers. And he had proved it. And that is the reason that the Holy Prophet had so many narrations about Hazrat Abi Abdullah, because of his services. Because of his services. None of the Imam, none of the messengers have those attributes that Sayyid al-Shuhada has in himself. For example, because of a greatest sacrifice, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ azim, that he was awarded with the greatest sacrifice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed him with 3 things. And the Masoom says that the first thing, إِجَابَةُ الدُّعَى تَحْتَ كُبَّتِهِ. Because of the greatest sacrifice of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guaranteed that when you pray under the shrine of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, because of his وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ azim, greatest sacrifice, the one attribute that he has in himself, being alone, إِجَابَةُ الدُّعَى تَحْتَ كُبَّتِهِ, that your dua is 100% accepted when you do under the shrine of and near the grave of Hazrat Abi Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam. That is the one attribute. And the second attribute is وَالشِّفَاءُ فِي تُرْبَتِهِ. Allahu Akbar. See, to eat dust is haram. You go to Makkah and you eat dust is haram. You go to Medina, it's haram. You go to Najaf, it's haram. You go any part of the world and you eat this dust, it's haram. But when it comes to the dust of Karbala, Masoom says, وَالشِّفَاءُ فِي تُرْبَتِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of his greatest sacrifice, awarded him and blessed him that not just it is allowed to eat as a shifa, or as to cure yourself to your diseases and problems, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left cure and shifa within the dust of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, within the dust of Karbala. And the third thing, al-imamatu fi zurriyatihi. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left the imamat in the progeny of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, because of his greatest sacrifice, the way that he has sacrificed himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had offered it, and all the prophets, they apologized to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said, Ya Allah, we can't afford it, we cannot do it. But when it came to Al Muhammad, see, Quran says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوءِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Quran says that we test people with hunger. We test people with fear. We test people with their loved ones. We test people with their wealth. Each and every prophet was tested with one of these things. But when it came to Karbala, every single test was there. Fear was there. Hunger was there. The test of the loved ones was there. The test of the wealth was there. Every single thing was there. And let me ask you, not just Imam, any children, within the army of Imam, within the people that Imam, left Medina, all those people, the children, the women, not the women of the family of Al Muhammad, the outsiders one, the one who came, the wives of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, anyone who was with Sayyid al-Shuhada, did they say even a small sentence like being impatient or complaining? Look at them, what level of patience they were. Every single test was there. When Prophet Ayyub was tested, and he was tested through his sons died, he was tested through his wealth, he lost everything. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, since shaitan, devil had, communicated with Allah that Ayyub is he's a good man because you have blessed him with everything. If you put him in a test, then he's going to complain. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that no, he's my servant, he's not going to complain no matter what happens to him. And then Allah put him in a test, in one test and the other test and the other test. And then finally he got sick himself. Prophet Ayub he got sick himself, and it was a test. One day, his wife went to the market to buy something. She didn't have no money. So since she was through the progeny of Hazrat Yusuf, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, and she was pretty. When she went to the market, the butcher, she asked for some meat, and she said she has no money. She need meat for her husband Ayub. So the shopkeeper, the butcher, he said that, show me a little bit of your hair, since you are through the descendants, the progeny of Prophet Yusuf, and I'll give you meat. She started crying. She came back to Prophet Ayub, and Hazrat Ayub cried, and he said, Ya Allah, enough is enough. You tested me through wealth, I was okay. You tested me through my loved ones, myself, I remained patient. Now it came to my ghairat. Now it came to my wife. Now it came to the family of my household, and now it's beyond my patience. It's beyond my limit. Ya Allah, don't test me with that. I cannot fulfill that. I cannot, meet these requirements. So, Ya Allah, at one point of time, Prophet Ayub, he said, Ya Allah, enough is enough. I cannot go through all these tests. But when you come to Karbala, every single test was there. Fear, hunger, loss of loved ones, wealth. And when it came to the ladies of Al Muhammad, Allahu Akbar. The Prophet said that, Ya Allah, we cannot go through this test. Our patience, we just that is it. We cannot do more than that. The Prophet said, but when it came to Al Muhammad, look what test was not there. What test they did not go through. But look at that. Look at the level of patience. And sometimes I think that on the other side, people know that what level of ignorance and oppression was on the other side. You can know and you can tell and you can describe and you can measure that what level the oppression was on the other side. But there is no tool that you can measure what level of patience on this side. What level, even the ladies, the children of Al Muhammad, at what level of patience that they were. When you look at the history, Allah, Imam was Imam, but even the children, they never complained. Even the sister of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, Hazrat Zainab Salamullah alayha, look at that, what she went through. And when she left on the 11th of Muharram, she was riding a camel without a saddle. So the hands were tied behind the neck. And when she passed through the battlefield and she saw the bodies of her brother, she saw the bodies of her sons, the bodies of her nephews, everyone was there in the land of Karbala on the day of 11th of Muharram. When she came and, deliberately, they passed this caravan through the bodies just to torture them, just to give them mentally torture. So when the camel of Hazrat Zainab, it was passing near the body of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, the narration says that she did not wait that the camel sits down and I come down. She dropped herself from the standing camel over the body, just like Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas without the hands. He came down from the horse. Hazrat Zainab, the hands were tied behind the neck. She dropped herself from the standing camel over the body of Hazrat Abi Abdullah, and just, imagine the hands were tied behind the neck and the body was covered with stones. She started moving stones, on the side. And after she had moved all the stones, she had to ask this question, Antal Hussein? Are you my brother Hussein? The body of Hazrat Abi Abdullah was in such a state that even a sister has to ask a question. Antal Hussein? Are you my brother Hussein? And then she looked towards Medina and she said, Ya Jadda, Salla alayka malikus sama. Oh my grandfather, the angels of Allah, they sent salawat and durood upon you. Ya Rasulallah, haza Husaynun murammilun biddima. Oh my grandfather, just leave Medina and come to Karbala today. And look at my brother Hussein, haza Husaynun murammilun biddima. Oh my grandfather, my brother is all wrapped up with blood. Maslubul imamat awarrida. Oh my grandfather, people have taken away the dress of my brother. Allahu Akbar. Muqatta'ul-Aza. The body parts of Abi Abdullah have cut down. And then the lady Zainab said, Banatuka Sabaya. Nana, oh my grandfather, your daughters are made captives. And then they left. And when Sayyida Zainab looked at the camels, they were talking to each other. And she asked Hazrat Sayyid Sajjad, Sajjad, what are these camels talking to each other? Hazrat Sajjad said, oh my dear aunt, they are talking to each other and saying that when you leave Karbala towards Kufa, do not walk fast, do not run, because you have to keep in mind who is on the top of you. These are the ladies of Al Muhammad. They are the children of Al Muhammad. Azadaro, then this caravan comes to Kufa, and when it entered into the court of Ibn Ziyad, it was such a state that upon, in front of Ibn Ziyad, there was a tray, and the head of Hazrat Abi Abdullah was in one of the tray. The ladies were standing in front of him, tied in one rope. And one of the companion of the Holy Prophet, Zayd ibn Arqam, he said that I was sitting in the court of Ibn Ziyad, and he had a stick in his hand, and he was disrespecting the face of Hazrat Abi Abdullah. He said, oh, Ibn Ziyad, I have witnessed in my life that the Holy Prophet used to kiss these lips of Hazrat Abi Abdullah. I used to see that the Holy Prophet kisses the neck of Hazrat Sayyid al-Shuhada. Stop disrespecting the body and the head of Hazrat Sayyid al-Shuhada. They went through Kufa, and when they entered on the 15th of Muharram, they left Kufa, and this caravan comes to Syria. One of the companion of the Holy Prophet, Sahal ibn Sa'd, he says that when I entered into Syria, I saw that there is one caravan. They have entered, the ladies are captive, and there is one young man, but he looks like a ill person. He's very weak and he has bowed down. He said, I came close to one of the horse, and there was a 4-year-old girl riding upon that camel. He said, I asked that who you are, and he said that we are the family of Al Muhammad. Sahal says that I introduced myself, that I am companion of your grandfather. My name is Sahal, I'm companion. Can I do something for you? He says that 4-year-old girl, she requested me, Sahal, if you are companion of my grandfather, do me a favor, ask these people who are carrying the head of my father, ask them to move a little bit further to people look at the head of my father, and they do not look the bare head that we have. They do not look at us. They do not make fun of us. Oh my, the companion of my grandfather, ask these people to move the head. So our respect, stay safe. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Rizam bi qada'ihi wa tasliman li amrih. Ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi zalimin. Wa sayalamu allazina zalamu ayyamun qalabin yanqalibun. Matame Hussein.
Hussein, Ya Hussein. जब याद सकीना को तेरी आती है बाबा, जब याद सकीना को तेरी आती है बाबा, सरे जिंदा की दीवारों से टकराती है बाबा, जब याद सकीना को तेरी आती है बाबा, दरबार यजीदी में भला कैसे मैं जाऊं, दरबार यजीदी में भला कैसे मैं जाऊं, है چاک گریبان حیاتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے بابا کانوں سے ٹپکتا ہے لہو شانوں پہ میرے کانوں سے ٹپکتا ہے لہو شانوں پہ میرے ظالم کی اذیت مجھے تڑپاتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے بابا مر جاؤں گی پیاسی نہ کبھی مانگوں گی پانی مر جاؤں گی پیاسی نہ کبھی مانگوں گی پانی اصغر کی مجھے پیاس جو یاد آتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے جب تک تیرے سینے پہ نہ سو جائے سکینہ جب تک تیرے سینے پہ نہ سو جائے سکینہ زندہ میں اسے نیند کہاں آتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی جلتے ہوئے خیموں کے نظارے ہیں نظر میں جلتے ہوئے خیموں کے نظارے ہیں نظر میں یہ بات خیالوں سے کہاں جاتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے کون میرے پاس جیوں کس کے سہارے ہے کون میرے پاس جیوں کس کے سہارے تنہائی میری موت بنی جاتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے بابا یاد آتے ہیں جب شمر ستم گر کے مظالم یاد آتے ہیں جب شمر ستم گر کے مظالم یہ ننھی سی دختر تیری گھبراتی ہے بابا جب یاد سکینہ کو تیری آتی ہے بابا سر زندہ کی دیواروں سے ٹکراتی ہے بابا یا حسین
اجماعاً صلوات بلند ختم کریں حسین را در غریبی سر بریدن تن پاکش به خاک و خون کشیدن تنش در کربلا عریان سرش بر نیزه های کین فتاده در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا کن خداوندا تن پاکی حسینم در کجا یابم اگر یابم مزارش را با آب دیده می شویم در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا کن کجا قبرش کنم پیدا خداوندا حسینم کو فغانونا لای طفلا نبی بابا شده برپا در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا بدارم کاروان غم زدن آلید و غوغایی بپا شد محشر کبرا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا خودم دیدم عزیز فاطمه لب تشنه جان دادم بخون غلطان در این صحرا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا کو ز جا خیزی برادر جان سخن گو با من دلخون ز جا برخیز نظر بنما ببین این خواهر مظلوم در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خدا فدای آن ریشه پرخون فدای آن تن گلگون فدایتای گل سالم خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خدا کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا کو ز اونو کو فو شامه بالا گویم چه ها دیدم به هر جا نوا زخمه زبان بر شام بشنیدم در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا سرند در تشت زر دیدم سرند در تشت زر دیدم گل از گلزار غم چیدم نمودم دشمنت رسوا خداوندا حسینم کو در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا در این صحرا یه جان فضا پس از تو ای برادر جان پس از تو ای برادر جان دیگر از زندگی سیرم خداوندا تن پاک حسینم در کجا یابم در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا در این صحرا یه جان فضا خداوندا یا حسین
یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا او یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو پابند نہ آہیں ہے پابند نہ ہو آہیں رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ میں نہ ہو تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر زندہ در زندہ اے زندہ در زندہ جس کے لیے قضا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصوم زندہ میں نہ ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کہ زندہ کی دیواروں سے ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کہ زندہ کی دیواروں سے بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے ہے بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے جس کو جدا کیا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز سسکنے کی زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز سسکنے کی جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہے جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہر زندان رو رہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو،
یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو۔
تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پہ، تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پہ، زندہ در زندہ ہے زندہ در زندہ،
اس کے لیے قضا ہو، یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو، یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو۔
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین
کلمہ گوگل
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین،
کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم
تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں،
کلمہ
گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، تو نے جو آل محمد پہ ستم ڈھائے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، پانی
یہ
تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات، پانی مانگا تو لگا تیر گلے اصغر کے، پانی مانگا تو لگا تیر گلے اصغر پر، بوند پانی کے عوض تیروں کے جام آئے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم
تیری کیا بات کریں،
ہم سے کہتے ہو کہ شبیر کا ماتم نہ کرو، ہم سے کہتے ہو کہ شبیر کا ماتم نہ کرو، ہم تو غم خوار ہے رونے کے لیے آئے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں،
کلمہ گو
یہ تو بتا ہم جو بھی
تیری کیا
بات کریں،
کلمہ گو
یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں،
کلمہ گو
یہ تو میں بولا
ہم
تیری کیا
بات، لٹ گئی کرب و بلا میں فاطمہ کی بیٹی، لٹ گئی کرب و بلا میں
فاطمہ کی بیٹی، اس کے بھائیوں کے جو سر نے زوں پہ اٹھوائے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ
تو بتا ہم
چھن گئی چادر زینب رہے عباس نہ جب، چھن گئی چادر زینب رہے عباس نہ جب، ہائے بیمار کو زنجیر ہی پہنائے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات
کریں،
کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات
کریں.
بوسہ لیتے تھے محمد جس گلے کا لوگو، بوسہ لیتے تھے محمد جس گلے کا لوگو، اس پہ شبیر نے امت سے زخم کھائے ہیں،
کلمہ گو یہ
تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ
تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں.
کر دیا قتل بلا کے اے مسلمان تو نے، کر دیا قتل بلا کے اے مسلمان تو نے، آل احمد کے فرد خون میں نہلائے ہیں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم تیری کیا بات کریں، کلمہ گو یہ تو بتا ہم
تیری کیا بات کریں.
وہ عابد بیمار تھا، وہ چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام، مولا حق وہ اصغر بے شیر تھا، اور ہرملا کا تیر تھا، وہ پیاسا گلا کیوں کر چھدا، روئے زمین اور آسمان، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی.
السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ، السلام علیکم ابن رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم ابن امیر المؤمنین وابن سید الوسیین، السلام علیکم ابن فاطمة الزہرا سیدۃ النساء العالمین، السلام علیکم سائر شہداء کربلا، خصوصاً سیدی و مولا یا ابا الفضل العباس یا ابن امیر المؤمنین، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم یا غریب الغرباء، السلام علیکم یا معین الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام علیکم یا سلطان یا ابا الحسن یا علی ابن موسیٰ یا الرضا، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم یا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام علیکم یا شریک القرآن، السلام علیکم یا امام الانس والجان، عجل اللہ تعالی فرجک وسعل اللہ تعالی مخرجک وظہورک، السلام علیکم وعلی آبائک الطیبین الطاہرین، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآلہ